Welcome back. This is hour 2 of PsiOp Radio this fine Sunday evening with our special guest, Rod MacKenzie, talking about his brush with the Kennedy assassination. I'm your host, Miles Lewis.
And I'm Mac White. And, Rod, you were...
I wanted...
Smiles has a question.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I just imagined this. Did you say in a previous interview that you had briefly had contact with the Secret Service?
No, I made Secret Service ID.
Okay.
I made quite a bit of that. Yeah, and Percy Holt also, he made the badges for that. All the badges out there in L.A., they had a place, I guess it was CIA, they said.
Mm-hmm.
And Roselli, John Roselli and Holt had this badge factory where they had an ID place upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with them a lot.
So you were there at Baylor Hospital in the cafeteria with John Roselli and your handler.
Jake Miranda.
Jake Miranda. And during the time that Kennedy was killed, and
we didn't do it.
Yeah, you didn't do it. But the reaction of Roselli was interesting. I thought when you
Yeah, we've gone an hour and I haven't said a damn thing hardly. So, I've talked a lot and not got to the crux of the thing. I'm sorry. I'm not a good talker anyway. But Roselli left, and I guess it was after the hit, right after it. And Jake Miranda told me he'd see me tomorrow, and which I did see him the next day. And so I'll move along a little bit. I worked that day. 2 days later, I go to Jake's place, and they're closed down for everybody except a few mobsters that used to go in there and eat. And, of course, I rap on the window and he lets me in. And I go in there, and Mac Wallace is in the sauce real heavy in the back room. There was like a catacomb of rooms in the back where they had gambling, all kinds of things going on back there. And the front was a restaurant, a beautiful restaurant, and he served Mexican food and steaks. And there's a circus, what they call the circus bar, it was right across from Fair Park,
mm-hmm.
Over there. And long story short, Mac is getting boisterous and noisy, and that's Wallace's. And so he says, "How about getting Wallace out of my hair? Get him out of here." And which I did. I went and sat and drank with him. I suggested we go somewhere else, and Mac was all for it. So we head out and we hit a couple of places on the way to Fort Worth and Mac's pickup. And we go there, and he's drinking pretty heavy, so I drove the truck. And we get out there to some motel he knew about. And it's a couple of Mexican gals there, and we had some fun there with these girls. And it was, we were just having a wonderful time. And he starts telling me about, like I'm supposed to know about the hit that went down. And he starts telling me about everybody, and I start to, oh, hell, I'm going to write all this down. So I go into the bathroom, and I'm writing whoever he's telling me the names, where they were on during the JFK's hit. It was about 3 days after, maybe 2-3 days after the thing, and they had already told me I was going to go to Parkland Hospital to work. I was leaving Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all set up. And
another break coming up. We'll be back with a long segment to pick up the rest of the story.
Trust the government. Oh, delay, oh, delay, oh, delay, oh, delay.
Welcome back. All right. right, so this is PsiOp Radio, and we're having a discussion with our guest tonight, Roderick A. MacKenzie, who's talking to us about his involvement in the Dallas underworld and its connections to the JFK assassination. And we will be opening the phone lines. You can give us a call at area code 512-879-3805. That's 512-879-3805.
Okay, Rod, you were in that motel room.
A little bit, huh?
What's that?
I better hurry this up a little bit.
I think we got plenty of time here. You were in that motel room with Mac Wallace.
He'd been drinking.
Mac Wallace is telling me exactly who did this according to him. Now, this is the part that tickles the palate of all these JFK buffs. And I can't say that it's true, only that it was told to me by a self-confessed killer, and a man that is a killer that I knew about. And I'm not trying to promote this as being the way it was. It's just what was told to me was a confession by Mac Wallace. Okay, I'm going back and forth to the restroom, and there's two Mexican gals that don't speak a word of English that we've been with. Are the only people there. They run this motel, and Mac knew about it. And we're there, and there's nobody to hear it except he and I. And he tells me who the killers were, and he said he ran the teams, and I knew about the sulfur mining company down in Sulphur, Louisiana, and the mercenary camp there, and a language school that they had in that building. And that was CIA run, I understand. But anyway, he said that was the place he trained these people, him and Cliff Carter, the lawyer for Johnson's lawyer. And Cliff Carter was evidently Mac Wallace's boss. And I knew Cliff Carter, too. And they had gone up around Denver there in what they call Red Rocks and done some shooting up there, triangulated fire and so on and so forth. And the only thing I can tell you is, I put all this down on paper, and that's what I put in my book, who they were. I can read it to you if you want.
Yes.
Okay, the command area on the second floor of the Texas State Book Depository was Cliff Carter, Carlos Marcello, which I didn't believe, but I guess that's what he said, Jack Rubenstein, and George Reese.
This was the command area. This was the command area. Were they shooters there on the second floor, or just this was where they were?
I don't know. That's all he said was the command area.
Okay.
Okay. In the alley behind the fence and above the grassy knoll, or what they call that, where the fence was, Clyde Faust, who I knew, and John Ernst I knew, and Jack Grimm, I knew all of them. And Joe P. Dugan, who was a partner with me in a lot of burglaries and stuff. And Joe later verified this. So Joe maybe did, now I don't know. He went out on a job that I was supposed to go on with him and stealing gold, and with two pawnbrokers from Chicago, and I never heard of him again. I didn't go on the job, obviously. In the alley behind the fence and above the so-called grassy knoll was Clyde Faust, John Ernst, Jack Grimm, Joseph Dugan. Dugan, I don't think anybody's ever mentioned before. Under the bridge, in case the president was not shot, and above the railroad area, and as I said, these people were not used, Charles Harrelson, Percy Chauncy Holt, Charles Frederick Rogers, and a man called Dimitri from the ACC who had been in my safe house. On the roof of the county records building, and a lot of people debate this, Harry Weatherford, Roger Craig, at both tops, Richard Scalati, and Michael Victor Mertz, who I also had in my safe house. And on the sixth floor of the Texas Book Depository, called the Nest, Ruth Ann Martinez, who was the hit lady I had on my Carnival safe house, Lee Harvey Oswald, and they said he was sort of woozy, and that he was like he was drunk or he said under a spell.
Under a spell. Wow.
That's what Mac said.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm Mac Wallace himself. He was there.
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence Lloyd Factor. And I know Factor was one hell of a shot. I've shot with him. And the Dow Tex building team was supposed to be on top, but they didn't make it. It was Eugene Braden. Yeah, he's been mentioned a lot, I suppose. Frank Farrelly, Sturgis, he said, and Raphael Quintero, who was a stone killer, rotten son. Oh, never mind. I wasn't a nice guy either, so I can't cast stones. Richard Kane, and Dick Kane told me before they killed him up in Chicago in the 70s, I guess it was. He told me that they had done it, that he'd been where Mack had said. So that's the teams.
Now the name Roger Craig is familiar to Kennedy assassination researchers as a Dallas cop who was a witness to certain things that happened after the assassination. He supposedly saw Oswald running out of the schoolbook depository. Is this the same guy, Roger Craig?
Yeah, he was a cop. Harry Weatherford and him were partners, evidently.
So Mac Wallace said that Roger Craig was on the county records building. He was part of that
team. Right, on the roof of the county records building. And he said that Harry Weatherford actually shot. And that's the people, as far as I know. And I believed Mac. I believed him. And I was scared stiff that he was going to realize he had told me this and knock me off, because, the guy was a killer. And well known for his enforcement and killing. He's a well-educated man, teacher. He wasn't just some scumbum. He was quite a guy. He had, in his own right, he had a lot of things going for him, but he was wacky.
And he's supposed to have performed another of hits for Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah, he killed somebody over his daughter, and then he killed another guy for Johnson, yeah.
Did Mac Wallace say that he fired on Kennedy?
Yeah, he said no. He said somebody else fired from that spot, and that's where they were in that, where Oswald was. And it was one of the others that did it. I don't think he actually said who did it. But there was there was him, Ruth Martinez. She could have done the shot herself. She was a hit lady, Ruth Ann Martinez. And she was the lady that was accused later. I saw pictures, and that was Ruth Martinez was the gal with the polka dot dress in the later killing of the other Kennedy.
Yes, that's commonly reported that at the Robert Kennedy assassination, there was a woman in a polka-dotted dress who had been seen with Sirhan, and you believe that was the same individual.
Martinez, right. She was a lady that killed with a hat pin in a person's ear while she was making love to them.
Ooh.
Nice gal.
Yikes.
Yeah, she was expert at that.
Whoa. Did Wallace tell you anything else? What happened to Tippett?
Nobody seems to really know that. I liked Tippett. He was a nice guy. I sat and we went shooting together, and I sat and talked with him. We had a few beers together, and he had been with the 17th Airborne. I'd been with the 508th at that time. Well, he was in before me, but I knew all about the 17th, so it was, we had common grounds to talk about. And he was a character. He, out of the whole bunch, I think he was the straightest shooter I knew, so to speak. He wasn't very good at shooting when he didn't get Oswald if he was supposed to.